In regards to financial freedom, what I would tell people is there's no products out there, right? There's no magic bullet for financial freedom. And so what I would tell you is that go find probably the most successful person that you know, right? Take a minute, think about who that most successful person is, and then go ask them how they got to that point. And I'm guaranteeing you, they're not going to say because my financial advisor, my financial planner is only charging me 1%, right? And I'm able to live this lifestyle because of that, right? It's going to be business or real estate. But anyways, back to this conversation that I was having with this gentleman. As I'm listening to speak, he's really listing off all of these things that were holding him back, right? The financial planner being one of those. But the question I would have for you guys today on the podcast is what's holding you back, right? Is it your financial planner? It may be, maybe it's not, right? Is it a lack of resources, right? We talk about resources being maybe capital. Number one, there's two ways to approach that. If it's capital, man, get to work, right? Go get busy, go earn an income, make sure you're saving 20% or more, right? But the other part of it is we've had several podcast episodes and we've highlighted opportunities where you don't have to have a lot of capital to get started. And so that's going to be mainly effort, right? Is it a lack of education that's holding you back? Man, there's some really good books out there where somebody can dive into and start to change their mindset and take action. The last one that I was going to share with you is something that I was interested in that the gentleman shared with me was he didn't want to be the first one. So he was located, him and his wife were located out of Michigan. And I hope they hear this episode because I'm excited to work with them. And I'm sharing their story, not to take credit in any way, just to highlight kind of the process that they've gone down just recently. But what they shared with me is that they actually felt kind of embarrassed and ashamed when they stopped funding their 401ks and their IRAs and people found out.
Wait, let's let that sink in.
Yeah.
Imagine the social pressure of Mac or putting money in these 401ks or IRAs, or I like to call them government created plans. That's sad.
The GCPs, right?
GCPs.
The GCPs. We had a great conversation, right? I kind of stopped the meeting there, but we just talked about, I shared my experience, right? When I first learned about infinite banking, there was nobody that knew what I was talking about or what I was doing. And so as you go down that road and you start doing something new, people are going to question what you're doing, right? And so there might be a lot of questions. And what I told them in that meeting was that as they go down this road, they're going to be faced with a lot of opinions and very little facts, and they're going to have to get really good at discerning the difference. But I asked that, right, is because there's lots of things that could be holding people back. So Anthony, let's kind of touch on kind of the main theme of this. And if you don't need a financial planner to achieve financial freedom, what do you need?
Well, what I would say, a financial planner is going to make it more difficult for you to achieve financial freedom because they're going to want to lock up those assets for a while and they're going to give you contradictory advice. Even when I first learned about infinite banking, I went to all these different financial planners. Hey, tell me why this doesn't work. Nobody could give me a valid reason, right? But none of them supported it. But what I would say is that we're going to need some coaching or we're going to need a mentor. And so I kind of use the analogy like a football team, right? If you want, there's different asset classes. If you want to be in long-term real estate or short-term rentals or midterm, or if you want to do land or whatever this business or investment of choice is, nobody is an expert in all of those fields. But just like a football team, they have coaches for a quarterback coach, they have a linebacker coach. And so if you wanted to get into one of these assets of your choice, find a mentor. Sometimes you got to pay for them and it's coaching, or there's a lot of groups, particularly in real estate. There's probably some local, often called RIAs, where people will meet up and you can develop those relationships. But what I think you need some value is is you need a head coach,
Mm.
somebody to kind of oversee the long-term vision and kind of help your the communication and you do the execution with your specialized coaches. And whoever that may be, oftentimes that's a role that we will fill, that we kind of go over somebody's long-term vision and their goals and their concerns, and we can kind of see from a big point whether we help them execute in some areas or we introduce them to some of the coaches for the areas that they choose to pursue.
Well said. You can ask me.
I thought the podcast was done, man. We're done.
No, man. I
It's
got
not the Anthony show.
no. So now, right? If in
Well,
my opinion,
Cameron, I'd love to hear your opinion.
thank you. Let me tell you exactly what this couple did. First, they went out and they educated themselves. They
Mm.
changed their mind frame. What they did is they went out and they read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then they read Nelson Nash's Becoming Your Own Banker. And what they realized is they realized that there's a better way. And they realized that they've been conditioned to think one way, but in reality, they needed to do something different to get out of that rut. So last July, what they did is they actually decided to start a medium-term rental business,
Mhm.
and they're killing it. They went live
Mm.
in November, and they are cash flowing anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 net profit since November.
I'm curious how much effort or help their financial planner was in that.
Absolutely zero help, right? But what's great is the sentiment that they gave was, man, this is taking a little bit of effort,
Mm.
right? And she's still cleaning, right? That medium term rental, they're looking at outsourcing that. But man, you know what? They've traded outsourcing that to taking control of their finances and put a little effort into this. And man, now they have this asset that is producing what would be comparable to what, $1 million portfolio,
Well said. Yeah.
right? So that's what you guys need to do. Second step that they did is they reached out to us, right? They got in community. We had a great conversation just about the way that we think, the way that we approach. And now what we're going to do is I'm not taking credit for kind of their accomplishments in any way. I told them, congratulations. I'm going to be a cheerleader here. And if they need something along the way, I can absolutely help them. We're going to get their cash in a position where they can then leverage and continue to build out this medium-term rental portfolio up there in northern Michigan. So hope you guys are listening. But if you guys have questions, if you guys are feeling the same way that you're trapped, you're not quite sure what to do, you feel like there's a better way, you know what? Take action, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. And you can get on a 15-minute phone call with either Anthony or myself.
You want to see the entire episode? Click here. If you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, click here. If you want to see if infinite banking is for you and you have some questions, hop on a discovery call with us and one of our coaches. The link for that will be in the description.